The purpose of this lesson is for you to be able to add and subtract fractions. Adding and subtracting fractions. You can see in the diagram that I have a fraction that represents 5/8 and another one that represents 2/8. When I put those two together, they give me 7/8. So when I add or subtract fractions with like denominators, the size of the pieces remains the same. It's the number of pieces that change. The size of the pieces in that picture are 8s. The number of pieces were 5 and 2, which gave me 7. Algebraically speaking, it would be a over d plus b over d equals a plus b over d. I just add those numerators and keep the denominator the same. In the problems on the right, I have 1/4 plus 2/4. I keep the denominator, which is 4, and I add the numerators. 1 plus 2 is 3, so that gives me 3/4. I have 2/7 plus 2/7, so adding the numerators gives me 4, keeping the denominator gives me 7, so 4/7. 1/11 plus 8/11. I add my 1 and my 8, it gives me 9, and I keep my denominator, that's 11, 9/11. Then I have 2/10 and 7/10. Adding the numerators, 2 plus 7 gives me 9, keeping my denominator 10, that gives me 9/10. You give it a try. Pause the video. Did you get these? If not, make a note so you can ask me about it. Subtracting fractions is the same as adding them, the process. Instead of adding a and b, I'm going to subtract them. So I'm taking a difference. So with these numbers, 5, 6 minus 4, 6. 5 minus 4 is 1. The denominator is 6, so I have 1, 6. 15 minus 4 is 11. My denominator is 22. That gives me 11 over 22, which simplifies into 1/2. Then I have 7 minus 4, which is 3 over 7, gives me 3/7. And 9 minus 2 is 7 over 4, gives me 7/4. Give it a try. Pause the video. Did you get that? Good job. If not, write it down. Ask me about it when you see me in class. Adding and subtracting fractions with unlike denominators. As you can see, I have a fraction 2/3 on the right minus 2/12. According to my steps, the first thing I do is find the least common multiple of the denominators. So I take the 3 and the 12 and I put them in my division house. I'm to divide out the common factor, which is 3. 3 goes into 3 one time and into 12 4 times. Then 1 doesn't have any more factors, but 4 has a factor of 2, so I divide 2 out. 2 goes into 4 2 times, and then I divide 2 into both. I divide 2 into 4, not into the 1, it stays the same. Then I see that I still have a 2, and I divide the 2 into that. This gives me my LCM because I've come down to just having 1 left. So that's 3 times 2 times 2, which gives me 12. So then I take my 2/3 and I change it into 12ths by multiplying both the top and the bottom by 4. And that gives me 8/12. Now I take my 8/12 and I subtract the 2/12 from it. Subtracting just the top, I get 6 over 12. Then, because they have a common factor, I simplify that by dividing 6 out of the top and the bottom, which gives me 1/2. I'm looking at my next one. Again, I'm going to find my common factors. I'm going to multiply both by 4, and then the 8s by 3. That's going to give me 4/24 and 9/24. Then adding the numerators together, it gives me 13/24. My next fraction is 7/8 minus 3/10. That common denominator is going to be 40. To make them 40, I multiply the 8s by 5 and the 10ths by 4. That's going to give me 35 over 40 minus 12 over 40. When I do that subtraction, 35 minus 12 is 23 over 40. Okay, it's your turn. Give it a try. Pause the video. Did you get those answers? If you didn't, make sure you make a note. Ask me about it when I see you in class.